All right, we're back after the 10-day mini bye. Um, and we got the Jets coming in on Sunday. And this could be a great day, amongst many great days this season. But this could be the best day yet because we are in a clinching scenario for the first time. Um, Vikings beat the Jets, and Detroit loses at home to Jacksonville, which, you know, Detroit's favorite, I believe. But Jacksonville just had a big win last week. Trevor Lawrence, had a big comeback. Um, they got a shot. I mean, I don't know how likely it is, but they've certainly got a shot. Um, if so, Vikings win, Detroit loses. The North is officially ours, with what would be 5 weeks to spare. Um, and we're also, uh, I'm almost equally focused on the seeding, and you know, Eagles are probably going to win. I think they're hosting the Titans. Um, but the 49ers are hosting Miami, who I believe have not lost a game this year with Tua. And, I've been laser focused for weeks on at least getting that 2 seed because that guarantees you, if you win your first playoff game, you're guaranteed a second home game. Um, and so I think the 49ers have a decent chance to lose too. You could really be in great shape. Um, I forget what the magic number is for the Vikings clinching at least the 2 seed. I think it's 5. I might be wrong about that. But so that's the clinchy scenario, seeding scenario, all that stuff. But the game itself, the Jets are coming in. They hyped up the national media because they're all on the East Coast. They hype up the Jets this week because Mike White uh, was the quarterback last week, and he had a big game against the Bears. They blew out the Bears. Um, but it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. We've seen the Vikings this year. We know what's going to happen. On Thanksgiving night they let Mac Jones throw for a ton of yards and some touchdowns. And then just the other night, the Patriots played Buffalo and did nothing on offense. But our defense just is not that way. Like we're gonna let Mike White. It could be Mike White. It could be Danny White. It could be Mr. White. It doesn't matter who it is. They're gonna throw for probably 300 yards. They're gonna make plays on our defense. And we'll just have to deal with it. The good news coming into this game is we're getting some guys back that we did not have uh, either last week or even weeks before. Dalvin Tomlinson, he's back. He's coming back. He hasn't been in there since I think the Cardinal game. He got hurt at some point, so we haven't had him for a month. But we're getting him back in there. I would think that's going to make a pretty big difference. And we're getting Caleb Evans back at corner. They put Andrew Booth on the IR this week, so I don't know if they've specified that he's for sure done for the year, but it's probably likely that he's done for the year. But we're getting Evans back. I haven't heard anything about the Vikings maybe bringing in some veteran corners. I think it makes all the sense in the world to whatever little cap space you have left. I mean, you've only got 6 weeks left as of now, and it'll be 5 weeks. You know, you don't need a lot of money to go sign a veteran corner. There are some names out there. There's a couple, big names. Sort of big names. I don't know if some of these veterans, if they're any good anymore. Maybe they're unsigned into December for a reason. But I think it makes all the sense in the world to go get somebody because you got Dantzler coming back. I believe Dantzler can come back next week. But even then, he's had injury issues. You know, Evans was a concussion, so that's not. I mean, that's an injury, but it's not a thing that like you either get a concussion or you don't. Um, it's not more like a like a body injury. Um, not to, it's not like I make it sound like a concussion is nothing. It's not nothing, but um, you know we are thin at corner. I mean we were thin at corner to start the year, and then you know you lose a couple guys, and we don't want to get into that 2020 mode again, where some of those absolute garbage players we were putting out there at corner by the end of that season. I think it makes all the sense in the world to go get maybe a veteran corner, maybe even two, because you've got some time to kind of acclimate into the team, acclimate into the system before we get to the playoffs. Because you know we're not going to be facing any shitty offenses in the playoffs, and of course we make even shitty offenses look good sometimes. Um, but we're getting those guys back. That should help a little bit. I think at this point it's the scheme is just making it hard for anybody to really do anything. But as we saw against the Patriots, they get to the fourth quarter and it's like they change. It's just the way they transform is just it's. I mean, it's wonderful. You don't want to count on that because you could end up in a situation like Dallas where you're so bad over and over and over, and your offense can't keep up, and it doesn't matter what happens in the fourth quarter by that point. Um, we don't have Darisaw again. He had the concussions in consecutive games, and then obviously they held him out against the Patriots. They're holding him out again this week. I think that's smart. I think you're with him, we're not only thinking of this season, but we want that guy to be our left tackle for 10 years. So we don't want to push the issue too much. Blake Brandel, I mean, we've seen him now in 3 games, in big amounts. He was in there for almost that whole comeback in Buffalo, and he played pretty good during that stretch of the game. It was at least like I think most of the fourth quarter in OT. He was fine. Obviously Dallas, nobody was good, including him. So I don't know, team wide collapse in a game like that. I don't know how much you can put on one guy. Obviously that's had some impact though. And then I thought he was pretty good against the Patriots. I mean, he gave up the one sack, but it was in the fourth quarter. It was late. Not that you want to give up a sack in any quarter, but I think most people would have accepted that as his performance. So whether that was just him, whether that was the coaching to help out, I think he did okay, and hopefully he'll do okay again. Hopefully he'll as long as we need him, hopefully he'll do okay. That's what you want from a backup tackle or backup anybody is get in there and just hold serve and fill in okay. But injury wise, other than that, we're looking pretty good. I don't believe there's anybody else who's hurt of note. I mean, we've still had some pretty good injury luck over the course of the season. We've had a few, but we're still pretty healthy for a team in getting into December. We're pretty damn healthy. And I'm kind of expecting it, for the game itself. I'm kind of just expecting the typical Vikings game this year. I don't think we're going to blow anybody out. I think we're going to have periods on defense where we're letting, whether it's Mike White or whether they, I mean, it's going to be White. I think Flacco's the backup this week. If he gets in there, whoever, like they're gonna move the ball. They're gonna get yards. I don't think we're dead last in yards allowed. I think we might be second to last in yards allowed. But it's this defense is going to do what it does for 3 quarters, and maybe then they get to the fourth quarter and they become a different team. I mean, the Jets are not that formidable. It will be Tyler Conklin making the big return. That'll be very emotional for everybody. But I mean, they don't have like a ton of playmakers or anything like that. I mean, they're not a very good offense. Last week excluded, but maybe Mike White's a really good quarterback. Maybe we'll find out over time that he's actually very good, and it's not just like a fluky thing. I mean, he has played before last week, and he's been okay. Maybe he's an okay quarterback. I mean, who knows? But it doesn't matter who the quarterback is we face because we let everybody look at least decent. And I expect that again, but and we're facing a defense. Jets have a very good defense. They're making a lot out of the Sauce Gardner versus Justin Jefferson. Who knows if they'll even for sure be matched up that much? That's on KOC, man. He's you got to get Jefferson in favorable matchups, and that might not be against Gardner. Maybe it's he does something to get him the ball other ways, but um, the Jets do have a very good defense. We've been facing a lot of really good defenses lately, um, and obviously we faced a really good defense against New England, but we look great on offense for the most part. Buffalo, very good defense. We look pretty good for most of that game. Um, Dallas was terrible. Dallas is the outlier. Dallas is such the outlier. Doesn't matter for narratives. That's the only game anyone cares about anymore. We're talking about the Vikings. You know, beating the Patriots didn't move the needle at all in terms of the the perception of the Vikings. Everyone's just sticking with they're not real, they're frauds, they're no good, whatever. They can think what they want, but I expect you know I don't expect the Vikings offense to dominate, but I expect them to be pretty good. And you know, again, I expect another game like we've seen. We've had eight of them, eight one score wins, and I think I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we see number 9 this week. Probably be close going in the fourth quarter, and we'll all be stressing out. I mean, the games themselves are not too stressful now, um, because it's real. The worst case scenario probably for the Vikings at this point is we're the 3 seed. That's the worst case scenario because we're not going to collapse and lose the division. I think the odds of getting the 1 seed are pretty slim, just because we still have to jump the Eagles by a full game. And we're still two up, I believe, on the 49ers. And who knows how tiebreakers would work out with them. But again, the 49ers have a tough game this week, and I don't even know what their schedule is the rest of the way. They've probably still got a couple toughies in there too. But worst case scenario, when anyone who said you're going into week 13, the worst case scenario for the Vikings is you're going to be the 3rd seed. That's not too bad. As long as you don't, we're not going to slip to the 4. I know that. Which means we're not going to catch either, probably Dallas in the first round. Dallas will probably end up playing Tampa Bay. 2 versus 3, there's a bunch of teams in the mix. Seattle, the Giants, Washington, who else? Maybe Atlanta. You're not going to get, I want to be 2. I want to be the 2 seed because you face the worst wild card, and you are guaranteed 2 home games with a win in the first round. Obviously, you're not guaranteed a second home playoff game if you lose the first game, but if you win, you're guaranteed a second one, and then you increase your chances if someone knocks off, say, Philly in the divisional. Then maybe you're hosting an NFC Championship game, which would be unbelievable. But I think this will be, as far as this game, I think it's going to be what we've seen. But not as stressful because the season is not on the line, the division's not on the line. And we've still got some tough games ahead. I think at Detroit next week is going to be really tough. I might even pick the Vikings to lose that game. That's going to be a tough game. But then, of course, you come back and you got Colts here. Who knows with them? Giants here. That could be a playoff preview. You might be hosting the Giants a couple weeks after that in the playoffs. And then at Green Bay, who the hell knows who Green Bay is going to be throwing out there at that point. I think it's hilarious that people actually believe that the other night or last week, the Sunday night game was the last time Aaron Rodgers is going to suit up for the Packers. Are you kidding me? You think Aaron Rodgers is going to just bow out gracefully and retire or something to help out the Packers? He ain't going to do that shit. They're either going to, they're either going to have to, keep playing him or maybe trade him. And I don't know. I don't know what team is going to take on that Aaron Rodgers contract at this point. I mean, I suppose there's some team that would do it, but he's not going to just be like, oh, I'll be a good little soldier and mentor Jordan Love. That ain't gonna fucking happen. I mean, he's even going to force his way onto the field this week to play the Bears. So, and who knows what we're going to see with that? Who knows what we're going to see with the Bears? Last week of the season. I mean, by the time we get to week 18, the Vikings might be resting guys because we might be locked into our seed. Like if it's like a long shot going into the last week of the season, maybe we could still get a higher seed. I don't know that they go all out to do that. You might just rest some guys, and obviously, we got weeks to go in the season. Probably have another injury here or there, but all they can do is keep winning and see what happens. And I think they will win this week. I think it'll be close. I think we'll win. I got this one like maybe 27-24 or something like that. Maybe we'll get like a Greg Joseph field goal at the buzzer or something like that. Maybe we'll get another Kirk fourth quarter drive. Oh, Kirk, the little kid, Kirk Change is going to be at the game. They made a big thing about that this week. Everybody loved it at Thanksgiving. Was with the kid wearing all the chains with his shirt off, dressing like Kirk. They made a big thing about that this week, so he'll be there. If he's a good luck charm, I say keep bringing him to the games and ride this to the Super Bowl. That's my opinion. But I think we will get I think we will do our part in the clinching scenario this week, and I kind of think Jacksonville might win too, because I think Jacksonville's played a lot of close games this year. I think they were making a big point, when everyone was obsessing about point differential with the Vikings a couple weeks ago, pointing out that Jacksonville has a better point differential than we do. I don't know if that's still true, but they've played some close games. They've obviously beaten a couple of good teams, and Detroit's not that good, but and it's in Detroit. But Jacksonville's got a shot. Give them a coin flip. They got a shot, and I think if we win, worst case scenario is we go to Detroit next week and have a chance to clinch in Detroit, which would be pretty nice. And even if that doesn't work out, then we got 2 home games right after that we can get it done. But it's decided. We will win the North. It's just a question of the seeding. Best case scenario, still grab that 1 seed. I think that's a long shot. Worst case scenario is we fall to the 3, which I think that's even kind of a long shot, but even that's not a death nail, even if that does happen. Because, I mean, it's going to be Giants, Seattle, Washington. Those teams, like, you could throw them in a hat and pick one out, and you might be the better matchup anyway. Who knows? But so yes, 27-24 Vikings, and let's clinch this NFC North. How about it?